and getting to know where you're at and what's going on. So gather some goodies for yourself and we'll get started right away. And we're in the last week of the Pisces season, just the water element, represented by the fish. That very imaginative, creative, thoughtful friend and version of ourselves. And we're also in the last week here of the Virgo full moon cycle. So next Monday we'll be landing in the day right before the season shifts into Aries. So we're going to be shifting from our water element to our fire element. So in today's class or practice or experience, we're going to journey into our sacral and our lower body, our roots, and we're going to target the area of our hips and open up that element, which is the water, which will give us access to our cellular memory, and which we can then unblock any congested, stuck, or stale energies. So when I was gathering insight on today's practice, it was kind of unfolding throughout the day. And they guided me to wear black. And they said it's going to be a new perspective on a funeral and a rebirth. In the 8th astrological house, which governs that of death, sex, and suffering. And we're in the Virgo full moon, which is the 6th sign, representing our mind's eye or our 6th chakra, which it represents our perspective of life and how we view it. And then with the Pisces season being very broad and imaginative, we're going to allow all those ingredients to work together to help create this shift in perspective that is needed and necessary for ourselves over our life, our experiences, and specifically with the water element, our relationships. That's what it's being highlighted. So your relationship with yourself and your relationship with others, and as my two little felines are running around, your relationship with all of the species, all of the organisms, all of that which would be an other that you would have then a relationship with or an experience with or be aware of in your reality, in this planet, in this universe. And so with that cocktail of ingredients, we're going to then pair that with physical movement to create this mocktail in which we can get to see what's going on within our own unique self. So with that said, you're oming from home. This is your own personal practice. I'm here as your guide, and we're all built differently, and we're all going through different things, and we're all at different levels and areas of our life. And we've all had different days. So go with what feels best for you. And if you're guided to go somewhere else, or if at any point during the practice you just want to shavasana or lay down or just experience it as a meditation, that is your choice, and you have that ability to choose for yourself. And so my guidance would just be to ask self what would be best for you and what's needed. And most of the time what's needed is what's going to take us out of our comfort zone. And we tend to reject the remedy that it is that we need. And so when we find resistance in our life or any rejection in our life, we can further open the door on that and explore it and understand the whys behind those ideas, thoughts, or feelings and actions that we have, our preferences that then make up our personality. And so we're going to shift our perspective on death, on sex, on suffering, as we're going to attend a funeral for all of our unnecessary, stale versions of the self that were created to protect us at different areas of our life that keyword thought or think they were helping, or think that they help in different situations, when really they're blocking or capping and limiting ourselves and the various of the 12 zodiacs, all versions of us, all dimensions, from actually exploring what we're really capable of and all that we're really capable of. And so we're going to remove the cap, and we're going to open up our crown, and we're going to pull in some prana. So prana yama just means breath work. Prana, all the way broken down, is that life force. And the life force is those ingredients. It's the ideas, thoughts, feelings, and actions that make up this energy, this essence. And that is all the ingredients that is stored within our cells. And a really simplistic way to understand that and conceptualize that is all of the experiences that you've had in your life and the quantity and quality of them is what makes up the memories, the ingredients within your cells. And so when we can best understand that and have that timeline organized and all contributing factors, and we don't have any gaps or holes anywhere, and we know why things happen from a much more emotional, intelligent perspective, that's when the system can process things. And when these things go unprocessed, that's what creates physical pain, that then we need practices like yoga or massage, to name a few, to then assist us with. So the prehab would be being smarter and dealing with it before it trickles all the way down to the physical body by becoming aware of the beliefs and ideas that are then manifesting and creating these physical ailments or experiences that we might call less than, or harmful or hurtful. And so when we can shift our perspective of the suffering, we can then also shift and transmute the energy within the cells. And then when we look into sex, our mind can go to one place with how we are created, but sex is the giving, it's the masculine energy, when the sensual is the feminine, is the receiving energy. And so the sexual energy is just how we give of ourselves. And there's this misleading conception where if we're female, we're feminine energy, and if we're male, we're masculine energy, when we are electromagnetic. We are that of Mother Earth. We need her, both of those principles to be whole, to give and to receive. Both of them represent the different parts and the cell, the light and dark aspects, which also represent those physical systems within the body. We have yin organs and we have yang organs. And so when we just say we're one, we're literally creating a belief within ourselves that we're just that one energy. So we then lock ourselves into whether we believe masculine or feminine, either giving or receiving. And this then will affect us within the nervous system, within the parasympathetic or sympathetic. You'll get locked into constantly being the one giving, or constantly being the one receiving. And then how we can feel that is by being stuck in constant thoughts, or the go, or the rat race, and unable to sleep, irritability. Or on the latter, we can then feel sluggish, or lacking of the oomph and the will to get up, or with no mind or desires of our own. And so we'll experience them in different ways depending on which element and which zodiac we have as the main constitution. When we study that and learn about that, we can then give ourselves what we need. We can actually work with our nature and align ourselves to flow and function so much more easily. We take the complication out of it, and that prehab then takes away a lot of the ailments that require things that really are unnecessary and much more harmful in the body. And so with our pranayama practice, our breath work, we're going to then open up our crowns and imagine ourselves like big containers. And we know that water, which is the element we're focusing on, takes on the container that it's in. And we are made up of a large percentage of water, and depending who you ask, it'll be anywhere in between that 70 and 90 percentile. And so if you think of yourself like a little water droplet walking around, and someone else being another little water droplet walking around, all those water droplets together create this ocean that we call the collective. And the consciousness of our collective is very low right now. It's on repeat and we're suffering for unnecessary reasons, and we have false perspectives of these main three categories: death, sex, and suffering. All of which will build adversity and build character and allow us to then move through things with so much many awareness and confidence and tools, because we can reflect on, oh, we've already gone through stuff. Instead of feeling like a victim or taking on, oh, we've gone through stuff, it's, oh, I've gone through stuff. Like, I've got this experience that backs me, that I can learn from, that I can look from, to then build and create my future, and to now have a large amount of discernment of weaving and bobbing my way through the rest of my days. And so with a pranayama practice, it is really necessary that we have a long, fluid spine, and we can achieve that by sitting up and creating tiny mounds of support underneath us, or if you'd like today, you can start laying down on your backs completely. Now, some of you might think, if I'm laying down on my back, then I should just have a pillow underneath my head, and I ask that you don't. We don't want to kink the spine, but what I can offer you as a modification is taking a blanket and creating a tootsie, like a tootsie roll out of it, and then that can prop up behind your neck. And that's a lot more efficient and protective for your spine and allowing things to flow, specifically the breath that we're focusing on. If you have tight hips and you're trying to sit up, propping a pillow or a cushion up underneath your sit bones will help to elevate and create space. And so wherever you've landed, allow the spine to be at your focal point. So let's close our eyes. Taking our gaze inward. And just bring awareness to any tension you might be holding. So notice if you're like scrunching your face, and just unwind it. Relax the jaw. Maybe take some circles with the neck just slightly. Half to the back, and then slowly creating that half moon shape, going left and right to the front, if that feels good for you. And then think of coming out of your hips. You can even press down on your seat. And that's what I'm here for. Just to give you little nudges, the things that you can try. And then listen to your own nudges, your own wiggles, your own subliminal messages. And let yourself explore them. So with this tall spine, we'll slightly tuck the chin into the chest. And you can visualize like a beautiful, big, orange, sweet, juicy Christmas orange underneath your neck. And that orange will also help to then stimulate parts of the mind and the brain to then activate senses in the sensory experience. And if you can even think of like the taste of an orange. And that all works with, think of the flesh of like a womb. The sacral, all the flesh in the hips and the glutes. And when we can activate all the different senses and layers of the system, the spirit, the mind, the emotions, and the body. Think of all cylinders, the circle being fired, being ignited, being activated, and working together, mirroring one another. And then just set the intention that your elements, your air, your ideas, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions will guide you into what they need to come into balance to then ultimately allow you to create what you want. And this dance is like a chess game. We give ourselves what we need. We get guided to then take the aligned action. And we will begin to then pull in what we want. That is how the intention and desire, the electric and magnetic energies work together. We call them bipolar energies. And so when they're not working together, this is what can create bipolar disorder. Multiple personalities. The versions of us that we've created in different stages, and that of what we've inherited that are just, they're showing me like sleeping like bears in caves, hibernating in our subconscious, as emitting out their energies and pulling in the past until we go, not today. We stop the unhealthy habits and loops and patterns that are ancestral and generational by broadening our perspective and becoming aware of them. And allow the spine to extend even taller, whether you're laying down or sitting up. And then shift your focus from the spine to your breath. And we're going to notice the quality and quantity of it. And we're going to watch and observe the breath like we would watch waves in the ocean. So right now, just let go of any need to control the breath and just let it be organic. And we'll begin to study our own organic breath. And from that, we can learn a lot about our nervous system. So we'll start by riding, surfing the breath inward. So focus on the temperature of the breath as you inhale through the nostrils, as it goes down the throat, down the windpipe, down into the belly, and then follow the exhale as it rides back up, past the heart, and allow the exhale to come out of the nose. And just notice if your inhalation, if it's like jerks or it's hard to get the inhale in. or if it's fluid and smooth, silky. And then we'll do the same with the exhale. Noticing if it's jerky or smooth and silky. And while you're doing so, bring your gaze to the backs of your eyelids and stare into that space. And imagine it getting deeper but lighter. And then float the awareness back to the breath. And we're going to play with the breath. And we're going to bring the inhale to a 5 count. Pause for 3, holding the breath in at the very top. And then exhale for 5, holding the breath out at the bottom for 3. So this might feel uncomfortable for the system at first, but work your way through the kinks and just try. Do your best. And if at any time you feel dizzy or lightheaded, know that that's the effects we're creating. And if the dosage is too much, just release and return back to your organic breath. And you can lay down in Shavasana and we'll meet you there at the end. Or you can join back in at any time you start to feel a shift. We're migrating and moving energies, so expect change. Embrace change. And any gurgles or pops or cracks or releases along the way, you can explore them a little deeper by just asking what's being released, trusting what you're getting shown through a memory or a vision, and letting it flow. And now we'll continue our breathing cycle. Inhaling through the nose for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold your breath at the top. Relax your shoulders. Relax the jaw. That's 3. Then exhale slowly through the nose for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause, holding all the breath out for 1, 2, 3. And we'll inhale through the nose for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tall through the spine, holding 2, 3. Exhaling through the nose for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding the breath out completely for 2, 3. We'll inhale last round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Holding at the top for 1, relax the shoulders. 2, relax the jaw. 3, exhale out the nose for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, holding at the bottom, all the air out, emptying the belly completely for 2, 1, and then just reset into your own natural breath. Just see what happens. Let a big inhale build. You can let a big sigh out or yawn. And then pause here for 1 minute, extending tall through the spine, heart lifting up towards the ceiling. If you're sitting down, relax the shoulders away from the ears, part the jaw, let the tongue be heavy and the bones. And just notice any shifts in your state of being, in your practice of being yourself. If you notice you're dry or parched, you can take a drink of water. And all my little external chitter chatter, just letting me know where our things are at. What we're creating. Challenging my Virgo self to just go with the Pisces flow. Releasing over-criticism, a large trait of the Virgo, and perfectionism. And begin to flutter your eyes open and rub the top of your thighs or wiggle your fingers and your toes. And if you're laying down, begin to make your way into a tabletop position. Nice and easy, slowly rolling into fetal position and pushing yourself up. Very animalistic. And if you're sitting down, begin to lift onto the knees, removing any props to make way. Knees under hips, shoulders over top of palms. And from here, we're going to curl the toes under and slowly push our hips all the way out to a very active downward dog. Hovering the knees to begin with, and then press into the palms, sending yourself away from the hands. Pressing through the balls of the feet, bending, and moving through the legs, feeling any stickiness, and then guiding your tailbone up towards the sky, creating that inverted V. Coming high on the balls of the feet, big bend in the knees, sending the navel back towards the tops of the thighs. Relaxing the head in between the arms. Pressing yourself even farther away from your hands. Sending your heart down to the earth. And then from here, we'll slowly begin to draw our right knee under our chest and plant it in between the hands, lowering the left knee down towards the earth, releasing onto the top of the foot. From here, we're going to bring our hands on to the top of the thigh and press down, elongating through the abdomen and the spine, reaching up through the crown of the head. Find your balance, and on your inhale, fill the belly and the chest, and on the exhale, begin to hinge forward in the hips, aligning the knee over the right ankle. From here, bring the hands down on either sides of the right foot, and you do have the option with blocks or books or pillows to have them on either side to support you if that's quite intense of a reach. From here, we're going to lower our chin into our chest, relax through the back of the neck, and bring our awareness to the front left hip flexor. And shift a little deeper, targeting this area, giving relief to the lower back. Inhale and breathe into that region like it's a little mini lung. And imagine it filling with air on the inhalation. And on the exhalation, releasing any stagnancy or stickiness that's blocking and locking your roots from flowing fluidly. So the earth and water working together. And from here you can close your eyes and take this new experience of connecting to your body and turning inward and experiencing this silence, this moment, this funeral for all the old that is no longer necessary or needed or aligned and obstructing and causing self-destruction. And then bring awareness to your right foot and your right hand, and lift your right hand and bring it inside the right foot, and begin to heel toe your right foot out towards the side of your yoga mat. You're going to keep the right knee completely facing forward to begin with. And from here you can slide the left knee a little farther back if that feels good for you. And you can be on palms, on blocks, or down on forearms. Or you can have a big pillow or bolster ready to be here as well to support you. So before we come down, we're going to shift our weight and our sit bones back and begin to straighten the right leg, lengthening through the back of the leg. And this can be quite intense, so just slowly start to shift your weight back, feeling that stretch. And then from here, we're going to push our bums out and back, and that should fire up underneath the hamstring. And lower the gaze, relax the neck completely, while at the same time, a slight activation of pulling your hands and the mat towards you and reaching your heart forward. And a little pop of your booty back. And that will start to get us into some interesting areas where some things might be hiding. We've shoved them far away, back in the corner of the closet. And then just utilizing all of the tools that we've gone over the last 8 classes. Guiding the breath to the area where it's speaking the loudest. And communicating without being pushy or aggressive, just what's going on. We're doing our daily scan, allowing the breath to communicate with all the cells in the body, and then report back to the brain to let it know what needs healing, charging, recalibrating. And you can compare it to that of a computer, thinking of all the files and folders and applications and how that can really slow things down, and we need to defragment, delete, organize, and label. And the same with our memories. Same goes. So from here we'll start to shift our weight back forward, and then we'll get that release, that relief. Giving yourself a activate that pleasure hormones. And I'm going to bring myself down onto my forearms, on my bolster here, and then I'm going to shift onto the knife edge of my right foot and angle my foot out to the side. And you'll notice that's going to change the area of the stretch. And then from here, I'm going to shift my bolster right underneath my left hip flexor and give myself a much more restorative approach. And you can come down to forearms. And if you don't have props at all, you don't need to use them. Just modify the stretch. Come a little bit out of your comfort zone. If you're just beginning to play with that edge. Take that sweet journey there. And if you already know what you're doing, allow yourself to remember the benefit of going through the journey, and not just rushing to the end result. And that's the main question I would get in the coaching, lifestyle architecture sections, or wellness mentorship, or Reiki clients. How many sessions do I need, or how long does this last? I'm just giving you the tools and skills so that you can manage yourselves for a lifetime. The healing journey, the understanding, the learning, just like the breath, when it ends, we end. We cease to exist. And on the latter, some of us are just merely existing. We need to turn our cells on, lure ourselves in. Unpack what may be holding us down. And so if you're completely lowered down onto that left leg, you can grow it long like a tail. Stretch your left toes back a little bit farther. And if you want to get a little deeper, you can completely sink over your bolster and rest down, if that's available for you. And if it's not, that's okay, and be okay with where you're at. This is 30 plus years gymnast, and my main thing was flexibility, so not all things come that naturally for me, but this seems to be in my blood. But also something that I embrace and I honor and I work on in various and different forms. And that's where we need to look at ourselves, and there's so many parts of ourselves that we take for granted, that other people would be mind blown about. And these are the parts of ourselves that we're going to allow to take center stage and get the spotlight as we have this funeral for the old selves and work through some of these deeper, darker, more intense layers. So if you're on your forearms and you're completely laying down, start to wave your way back up onto your hands. Do it nice and slow. Come onto the left knee. And allow that shift back, straightening through the right leg slightly, and flex the left foot. And you can even shift your knee from side to side. And I've got some really nice popping going on underneath the left hip and glute. So these are areas that are kind of hard to hit if you don't get into the wiggle in the right placement. And then begin to shift onto the right foot completely. And remove any props or blocks or bolsters just out in front of you. And we're going to heel toe that right foot back into the middle. And bring the right hand down to support us. And we're going to shift onto the right heel by wiggling it forward. Gripping the mat and pulling it back towards us. And you can come tall on the fingertips. Nice bend through the arms, shoulders facing forward, and reach the heart forward as you inhale. And then as you exhale, pull the mat back and fold over the front right leg. Let the head go completely. And explore. Push through your hands, push yourself back. But at the same time, reach your belly button and your heart forward. Draw your toes back towards your face, flexing the foot. And again, completely let the head go. I'm just moving mine at times to make sure that my voice is amplifying in a way that you guys can hear it. And I'm not muffling up. And just allow whatever you're experiencing, ideas, thoughts, feelings, or actions, to be observed from a place of non-judgment, non-criticism. You're just seeing, hey, my thoughts are crazy tonight. Well, fire's a little excessive. Nope, I seem to be just all over the place, scattered. I keep losing track of where we're at. Okay, air. What you doing? Why are you still out there? Oh, you're feeling heavy or emotional. Water's just pouring. Oh, you're feeling rigid. Dry. The earth needs some sustenance, some real elements. So you can set the intention to give that to your cell, this vessel, the earth now. And And on the next inhale, begin to bend through the right knee. Shift forward, planting the foot. And you're going to bring the right foot down to the earth, setting it parallel behind the hands. The right knee goes behind the right wrist, and the left foot goes behind the left wrist. Sitting up tall through pigeon. Allowing that stretch. And just noticing how you're feeling. Then from here, we'll push up through the hands and send the right leg back to tabletop position to set up on the other side. Pressing through the balls of the feet. Pressing the tailbone up to an active downward dog. Drawing the left knee under the chest. Planting it in between the hands. The right knee over, or pardon me, the left knee over the left ankle. And lowering the right knee down to the earth. Releasing onto the top of the foot. Drawing the hands up to the left thigh. Straightening through the spine on the inhale. And on the exhale, shifting forward. Taking the stretch through the right hip flexor. Hands land where it feels best for you. Breathing into that intensity. And then bringing the hands down to the earth. Sinking in a little deeper, but keeping the left knee over the left ankle to protect it. And letting the head hang completely heavy. As you ask what versions of you need to be let go, and what attachments you might have to them, without any judgment or criticism. Inhale the left hand inside of the left foot and begin to heel toe the left foot to the edge of the yoga mat, keeping it facing straight. On the exhale, shift your hips back, popping your booty slightly, straightening the front left leg, feeling the stretch through the hamstring and the calf. Pressing the yoga mat away from you with your hands and letting your head hang heavy. And allowing your organic breath to shift into a receiving breath, where you trust the body knows how to breathe. And without force of the inhale or exhale, you wait for it to rise like a wave. Coming in, and the riptide pulling it out. On the inhale, start to shift forward, grabbing any props. Pointing the left toe on an angle out and shifting on to the ninth edge of the left foot. Propping pillow, cushion, folded up comforter underneath the right hip flexor. Then coming down to what feels best for you. wanting to create that edge, to clear out and create space. For a fresh perspective. And what is necessary to move on and balance your nervous system, your health, and then by default your life, as it is just a reflection of what is going on inside these cells. Reach the heart and belly button forward on the inhale, and then on the exhale, drop into that space you've just created. The modification would be up on the hands with the right knee bent still. Hands on blocks, or even an extra higher bolster, cushion or pillow, just stack them up. And then just be with what's happening, with what you've present to yourself. And on the next inhale, bring awareness to the hands. Begin to come tall on them. Removing any props, blocks, or bolsters. Shifting the left foot inside the hands again. And then wiggling the heel forward, flexing the left toe back towards you. Keeping a micro bend or even bigger through the left knee. Transmuting the motion back and towards the hips and the glutes. Pressing the mat away. And on the inhale, reaching the heart and belly button forward. And on the exhale, folding over the left leg, letting the neck go completely. So as we target all these different areas of the lower body, those with any chronic lower back pain, you might notice that as we might not have directly targeted the lower back, but as we've hit what is right underneath it, the root of the issue, we then make space and release the tension that's then just showing up in the lower back as a result of what has not been processed or healed or brought awareness to in the root. And the next inhale, begin shifting forward onto that left foot, walking the hands in front of you, setting the left leg down parallel behind the wrist, left knee behind the left wrist, left ankle behind the right wrist. Hips square in front of you, lowering down onto the pubic bone and root. Pressing back through the hands, rolling the shoulders back, scooping the heart up. Inhaling tall through the spine. And just noticing how you feel after those intense long held postures, which can at times challenge our mind, which will then allow us to get it back in management over our matter. When our elements can start running wild if we're not giving them the proper values and tools and discipline and foundation, morals. So from here, we can just sit back onto our left bum cheek and bring our right leg out in front of us. And if you've got some yummy props, blocks, and bolsters, you can set them up. And for a little special treat is Johnny's gonna come out and take you guys through a little 5-minute Shavasana. So our classes that we used to teach together before we had a million children was Moon Day Me Time. And so I would teach a 75-minute yin yoga class, kind of like we just experienced now, and then Johnny would teach a 30-minute meditation, which made it this delicious experience of taking that time on Monday for yourself. And so as I shared with you, these classes are a big part of our healing. So today we were guided for him to be prompted to come and share with you and seal this class. So I'm going to send him out right now. He'll be with you in just a second. So you guys can take the Shavasana completely laying down on your backs. You may have any props, like a pillow or cushion, set up under the back, remembering not to kink the neck. And of course you can place a blanket over top of you. Johnny, do you want to lay back and we'll give them a nice yummy position?
Sure, yeah, that sounds splendid.
So setting, if you have props, the 2 blocks up like so, with your bolster on recline. You want to say hi?
Hello everyone. So excited to be back here and joining you all. Like I just heard.
Were you tattooing?
Yes, I was.
You have a tattoo on your teeth.
Oh,
It's vegan ink. Good thing. No animals were harmed in the making of Johnny's tattoos. So guiding yourself into that really sweet Savasana seat. That is what's going to feel yummiest for you today. And that might be laying on your belly or curled up in fetal position, depending on where your body and where you're at. If you're pregnant, if you're working through injury. Think of Savasana as a place where you can just take in all the yummy, cultivated high vibrations you just created and just sit with them like you're on cloud 9. Just in that nirvana, that bliss, that cloud. And I'll let you take it away.
thank you, my dear. So, as you settle into this Shavasana, in whatever position feels the, as my wife would say, the yummiest to you, take a deep breath to scan one more time and make sure that nothing is going to call your attention. No discomfort, no kinks, no pain. And as you find that position that clicks with you, imagine that the next deep breath begins to sink you in towards the earth. A little bit deeper every inhale and exhale. as if you were setting into your aligned place. Nowhere else in the world you need to be than right here, right now. And we're going to center our internal vision as our eyelids feel heavy in this very relaxed position. Take a gander at the back of the eyelids, as if you were staring into the screens of a movie theater. And just become a witness. Just be in the moment and observe whatever is taking place behind the eyelids. When your focus is on the back of your eyelids, it creates a space where all of your attention can gather together, bringing any part of your mind, as wild as it may want to be in that moment, into the present moment. Use this tool as you go about your days and weeks, along with the pranayama, the breath work, the managing of your breath. To help you center yourself into the here and now. As a practice of self-care and love.
So if you feel like it's time and you're ready to come out of the posture, you've created this seat for yourself, you'll very carefully roll onto one side, coming into our fetal position. You can stay on the bolster, or you can slide off, worming your way, the Virgo full moon, back onto the earth. As we release all the old versions of self and our fear-based or false understandings of death, and suffering, and sex, as we welcome all new experiences and new perspectives of ourself, of our past, to free us and unleash us back into the wild. Connecting back to our true nature, to weave it back with the higher self, and allow our mind to manage that matter, to tame that beast, and co-create with those light and dark energies all that we're truly meant to experience and achieve. You as your individual self. You's a big deal. Remember that about yourself, about your cell. Trillions of years went into creating these X and Y chromosomes that make this human, all of our array of hues and vibrations. And then you can begin to press yourself up to a seat, which will set the symbolism, like my husband does, the tattoo alchemy symbolism, symbolizing the ceiling of our class. So just like his tattoos create a portal for opening and receiving and giving and releasing energy, whenever you're creating this space, you can think you're creating this portal, opening up this space and time for yourself to travel. You don't necessarily have to get on a plane to travel. You can do that in your own memories and in your own mind. And throughout the planets and universes, you just have to shift into the parasympathetic. And connect with self. To start to explore. And then we start to create a life that we don't need a vacation from. That fuels us and fills us instead of draining us. With a long, tall spine. In honor of our old selves and stale selves and unnecessary selves that were created at different times of our lives. Lifting our arms up and inhaling and exhaling, releasing them out of the system with just your intention to do so and your awareness of their existence. And begin to tap the thumbs into the heart, understanding that now the journey's begun. Now all of these old and unnecessary selves will start to show themselves to you so that you can go, no, I'm going to respond different. That's the homework. That's how we heal and shift all the way down to the root. We, the personality, the human, the individual, makes the choice what they choose to resonate with and not. So just the same as we've been plagued with the trauma of our past, we've also been given a lot of their adversity and character and a lot of the hardship that they went through. That's also running deep within our veins and in ourselves. And so with that, we would thank Mother Earth, bowing our brains into our hearts and our bodies into Mother Earth for allowing us to play another day. Thank you for joining Johnny and I on Monday Moon Day. I'll let you see ya.
Pleasure being here once again. And I look forward to many more classes and experiences to share with all of you.
Allow yourself to journal, have a yummy bath, and be extremely aware of those energies surfacing over the course of the next week. And I'll see you next Monday for Moon Day Me Time. Mwah.
Beautiful.